Okay, guys. So I'm here live with IZ Trahat. Trahat. I don't know. Maybe you want to write your name in there. Um, and we're just discussing the. This is a showcase for the new features of the new update for the Art of Combat. So I'm just going to go over what I was saying before. The current Art of Combat, before this update, has modular AI, has a very robust system, combat system and all that. And it's trying, okay, good. And if you go into the your Art of Combat folder structure and open up the MonDP, for example, you see the AI graph. It has a lot of designs here, but the main thing about this setup is that it's rather randomized, so to speak, and not so dynamic. You know, um, it is still dynamic, but if you wanted to really tweak this, then you would have to go into your this graph every time, to do something. So um, like I said a few months ago, I went I just started, I just wanted to do something different, so I just did this exact thing. I just came here and out of the blue, I just did something like, I think artificial intelligence. Yeah, I just did this. I just created it, I went and read up a bit on blackboards and behavior trees, and in theory, it seemed fairly easy to use, so I started doing some work with it, and it turned out to be, really extremely easy to use. The level of modularity using this behavior trees is just ridiculous. So I decided to test out, I began little by little to see what I could do integrating behavior trees with what I already done for Adravia, and everything works really nicely. I mean, you have the main blackboard. You have the behavior trees connected directly to the MonBP's AI graph. So basically they just call stuff, from in here, and just so you don't really have to do anything more. I don't really have to do too much. I just had to know how to connect and when to connect, and do a lot of testing, because in the end Unreal Engine still has this crazy thing where sometimes it just crashes for no reason. This is like an example of what it might look like. This is like a skeleton or something, but this is really, really intuitive, and I think one of the best things about this is how quickly you can just test. I mean, you can just drag these anyhow you like. This does something different. This already changes the entire design. This changes the entire design again. Knowing what to use, selectors or sequencers, or hybrids. I think yeah, parallel nodes. It was a real what do I call it, ride. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I actually like fell in love with it, and the more I just did, the more I knew. Before I knew it, I was taking on jobs to actually design AI as well. So not so bad. I think the only thing remaining for me to actually learn in terms of this AI thing is flanking. Yeah, I'm working on that at the moment. Once I have flanking down, I think I'll just introduce it as a new component or be a new system in the marketplace or something, Um, but in the meantime, let's look at what we have here. Let me just see. I think we have, okay. So in the meantime, let's just go on ahead. So let's see. Okay, let's just go on ahead and play, and I don't know, I think there might be a bit of lag, so okay. I don't know if you can see this correctly or whatever. So this is all we're using. This test is happening with the behavior trees connected and all that. So this is me as an assassin player. and assassin class, that is, and that's the AI. The one I'm facing right now is an assassin. Yeah, he just went into disappear right there. Used the special technique. And there you have the one with the shield is the Forkut class. The you have two sword maesters facing each other. From what I can see here, it looks like this for the first sword maester is facing the second one, and the Forkut. Yeah, if you watch the way he's turning, yeah, the Forkut is also facing that first sword maester. And yeah, I think the one was targeting me before, the assassin was targeting me before, is now facing that guy. So, and now the Forkut is facing me, you know. So this is like basically like for total war mode, you know. So you have all of that. I think a very good complement to this is the team hierarchy component that I've been designing for a few months now. Oh yeah, if you are alarmed by the fact that the AI can just get back up after dying, that was actually set for this level, you know. So they're like zombies that never die. Even if I die, you know, I can just press the I key to rejuvenate, and all of that is, you know, very simply done. I mean, it's in the art of combat already for you. All you need to do is just hook it up, you know. So I cannot stress enough. I mean, I shouldn't be the one saying it, I know that, but I really just can't stress enough how ridiculously amazing this pack is. I can't. So, okay, I suppose so far you haven't actually seen me do any fighting, right? I mean, this is a combat showcase, I might as well go ahead and kill something. Let's try that again. Alright, so I was just parried there. Oh boy, okay. Oh, I just parried again, I parried him. Okay, I think he just went invisible again. So this way, using the system, you can basically just design your AI anyhow you like. You know, you can say you should do this. You know, you can say your AI should do this, should do that. Or, for example, if you look at what I have in here, you see directly I'm saying that here. Okay, I added a lot of comments in here as well, so just looking at these should guide you. Something like okay, let me just open it up in the art of combat so you see it in there as well, because this is a driver actually, so you're not just confused. So let's see, in here you have it here, and it took a lot of time. It wasn't simple copying and pasting. This was not copying and pasting at all. I had to redesign the entire thing, you know, because the dependencies were broken. ManDP already existed in here, so I couldn't bring it back in here, and it was just really ridiculous. I tried like 3 or 4 different ways to do it, you know. Well, you know, in the end, I actually pulled through, so I'm just really glad. Let's see. So in here, for example, you can see what we have is something like if the AI is there. I'm not going to go into explaining what selectors or sequencers or, you know, parallel nodes are. I'm sure you can just read those up, but I'm just going to go into explaining what went through my mind when I was designing this. So in my mind, I want something like once the AI gets loaded up at event play, you want the AI to do some stuff specifically if the AI is alive, and some stuff specifically if the AI is dead. All right. Okay, looks like I have another. Okay. I don't know. Is there a way for me to just like dock this so I see if you ping me? I don't know. I guess I'll just get those alerts and the pop-ups. So what else? Yeah, so some things specifically happen if the AI is dead, some happen if the AI is alive. For example, from here you can see you're saying that if the AI is dead, that you want to just go ahead to wait. That's of course assuming that the AI has gone into the dead pose, right? You know, the falling down, legs smashed, head kicked in, whatever pose that you set here yourself. And then it goes on to ask a question: do you want to rejuvenate the character? If you have that set somewhere, you know, in your level blueprint, or for example, if you look in here in this level, for example, you see that I set I just made some settings here. You know, for example, I said if I die I can rejuvenate. That's very simple. You know, just cast your character and then say if your character is dead. If you press the I button, this is just all you need. You know, just say if you want to rejuvenate, and you know this happens, and this is going to play off an entire sequence of notes. So made it very easy, very simple for you. You know, so all you need to do is just look at the examples, you know, that I've made. But anyway, you know, that's for the player character. Yeah, I think for the opponents in this level, actually thinking back to how or where I did this. Let me check. Is it in the game mode? Okay, it looks like it's possible that I did. No, there's no game mode. I don't know, but I must have done it somewhere. But this is another example. You know, you can just do it here in the game mode as well. If you want them to rejuvenate by default anyway, all you need to do is just go into the ManBP and just set this to true anyway. By default, it's set to false. So going back to the combats, yeah, I think we were looking at this, yeah. So you have that, and of course you can go into kind of whatever you like in here. For example, this is a sequence node. This is a selector. So selectors do one or the other. Sequences do 1, 2, 3. You know, so basically, if one part of a selector node is false, then you go to the next one to check if you can do that one. But in a sequence node, if one part is false, then the entire thing fails. So it will just go back to the beginning of the question, which in this case would be here, to check that value passes. So in this case, if the AI is alive, if the bot is alive, you go in to check some things, and you have some what do we call these again, services in here. The services are just basically ticks that you can assign, you know, intervals that you want. For example, this one will take every 0.02 seconds. This one takes every 0.1, and this one takes between every 0 and 2 seconds. You know, you can have a random deviation here. So in here, for example, you have some things that are set. Again, you can see how easy this is. Normally you'd have to write the code in here, but I already wrote it in ManBP, so I just did some tweaking and just connected it. So basically, what this does is, you know, it checks to see if the AI if the AI is actually perceiving an enemy or something like that. Then it will go on to say RTF means ready to fight. You know, say okay, you're ready to fight. If the AI is not, or you know, one of those conditions that should be true for drawing your weapon is not true or something like that, then of course the AI will go on to host the weapon. You have the perception dependency variables as well. So down here is for, say, your character is falling or is on the ground. You know, maybe the back's on the ground. I don't know, a super mode or something. You don't want the AI to still be thinking about persistent attacks or anything like that, or running, or you know, stuff like that. You want the AI to get up from there first, right? So that's what this is. You have some variables in here you can tie to these things as well. One important thing that you should probably never forget if you're dealing with behavior trees is if you're using keys. But I guess we'll get to that in a moment. Are you still with me, man? Okay. Let me know if I begin to bore you though. Anyway, so let's see what else. Then you have the AI for Dravia. You know, this really does follow like the schematics for the designs for Dravia, and the AI for Dravia uses this thing. I'm trying to see how I can explain it. You know, this hate thing where hate and aggression and, you know, all that, you know, stuff. I don't know, I'm looking for the particular design document. I can't really find it yet. I'll have to go through it. So basically in Adravia, or in this case in the Art of Combat, you have this, okay, first you want to find the distance to the enemy character if you have a current target, right? And if you do have one, then you want to look at the character. If you want to look at it, you can go ahead and disable that if you like. Or perhaps you can go ahead and say, instead of the entire body facing the character, you want just a certain part of the body to face the character, perhaps the head. You know, and perhaps you have pivots, you know, so if you want something like a lag between every move of the character, so that you give that illusion of the player being able to go to the back of the character to backstab or something, then you know you can just add some sort of like delay after this. So you would have something like a look, and then you have a wait or something, and then you have a finish, you have a delay anyway in here, and just to stop that from happening. Let's see what else. Well, I think all of these are, you know, mostly self-explanatory. I think if you just look at these, you're gonna understand them. Yeah, what I was talking about in terms of keys is just, you know, just in case you make your own services, make sure that, you know, you tie the keys that you make to the correct, that you set them correctly in the behavior trees. So for example, you just go in here, you create a new variable, and you set the type to Blackboard key. That allows you to basically use any key that you have set in your Blackboard that you have created in here. So you go on and you create a variable in here. Then you can use that variable anywhere in your behavior tree, and you can call that variable as well from anywhere in your, you know, your tasks, in your decorators, or your services. So you know, it's easy enough to hook all of these up, but it's very easy to forget to hook to set these here, you know. So you have to, you know, click on them and, you know, go into select, which is the right one. Because if you don't do that and you forget to do it, everything else is going to look okay, and, you know, you're just gonna keep debugging and trying to find and I actually faced that, you know, like I faced that a lot. They happened to me a lot, you know, before I actually got to understand, to memorize, and to remember to do that. They have another wait node, and then it comes in here to check for the kind of, you know, the character's class. So the class it's checking for is the one that is based off of the RPG component. So if you go to the RPG, it's checking this one. So whatever is set in here is what it's going to use in here. Now by default, you have certain classes that are, you know, set already for you, so you don't really need to. But of course, if you just want to go into test, you can just go and set these here. But if you want ready-made classes, then you can just go into the child character. You have all of these set. So assassin is by default the assassin class. That is that. That is that. That is that, and so on and so forth. So here, if it's the ranger class, it goes on to do some stuff for the ranger. If it's for the swordmeister class, you know. So basically, all of these allow you to have different, very much. This setup is so modular. I can't even begin to. You look at this. This is what I mean by modular. Look at this. You have okay, say for example you're playing as the ranger class. You have aggressive, reactive, and passive actions. And here it goes into explain what that means. The aggressive AI performs actions as soon as it, you know, identifies a valid target. The reactive performs actions when the opportunity arises, which means what this does really is the way this usually works is more like if you're not attacking, or, you know, you're open, then the AI will that would be like a favorable opportunity for the AI to attack you. The passive AI, however, is like the opposite of the reactive. You know, they wait for you to actually attack before they counter. So that's and the algorithm to actually check for that is also in here. Yes, in each of the PA EZs. So you still with me? Yeah, I agree. So you can see what exactly is going to be happening here now. So basically we're saying that if you are alive, if you are alive, if you have a current target. Oh yeah, I didn't even go into the decorators. Decorators are pretty easy. Just I don't know if I should, or if anyone thinks I should actually go on ahead to explain how to use decorators, how to set these and stuff. Just go ahead and let me know, maybe in the comment section or something. I don't know, Discord, Skype. I think an email might be too extreme, but just let me know, how you like. There are some more complicated decorators down the line. I guess we're gonna get to those soon. So in terms of modularity, like I was saying, so you're checking to see if you're alive, if you have a current target and it is valid, and all of those other things. You're coming here to check if you're of this class ranger. If you're of the class ranger, you're going to check if your ID of regression is equal to 0. Now what this means, I think I just explained that, there's a certain variable in your man BP that is an integer. That integer is, okay, hold on a second. I think the variable is actually in the RPG component. Let me see. ID. Yeah, it's in the RPG component. So you can set this from 0 to 2. So 0 is for aggressive AI, 1 is for reactive AI, and 2 is for passive AI. As you can see here. So 0, if you set to 0, it's going to run an entire behavior tree that is different from everything else, potentially anyway. Right now, they're mostly similar, because hey, that's for you to to decide. The room is in there for you. I mean, I've done a lot of work in there for you. So all you need to do is just think about what you want. I don't know what you want. I can just give you the framework for it. So you have a certain type of aggressive AI behavior tree. You have another type for the reactive rangers, and you have another type for the passive rangers. Of course, this is just limited to 3 different types for each class. You can go on ahead if you have like 10 different. That's how crazy modular it's going to be. So you can imagine how easy it is to create boss AI from this. I have some examples. I actually did some boss AI for. I did a mock trial or something like that for this VR game currently online. I don't know if I can mention the game, because I think I was under NDA at the time, so I don't know if I can go on ahead to to mention the game on live stream. But yeah, they had me work for them on the boss AI, and it was really fun. In the end, it didn't really get accepted anyway, but it was pretty fun to work on. So you have the so potentially you have like 15 different behaviors in here for these 5 classes. So you can imagine what that means, and in each of these, on top of that, you can imagine how crazy this is. On top of that, you have something like a different, especially different behavior again for a certain condition, a certain situation. What this means is you're saying that if the ranger or whatever class is aggressive, for example, and you're in close range to your target. This is for if the AI is in mid range to its target. This is for if it's in long range. So if the AI is in close range to its target and it's aggressive, then it runs a parallel node, where parallel nodes basically do one thing while they're doing other things. So here you have the opportunity actually to look at this. This is an example of what I was talking about. This should be set to, wait a minute, this is the other format. Yeah, this should be set to priority. ID current check, ID. Although I don't know, I think it's possible that sometimes Unreal Engine might be resetting these variables. I think that's going to be really annoying. I hope that's not the case. I just want to hope that no one forgot to actually set these. So let's see. So you're gonna have something like, yeah, okay, I think everything else is okay. So like we were saying, look at how crazy this is. Let's take it again from the top. After looking at all the conditions that you have in here, how peculiar, how specific your conditions are, you know, you then come in here and see that for this specific ranger class, if it is aggressive, you want to do some stuff by range, right? On top of that, you're going to say you want to go and to check if the AI can recharge its energy. So if the AI can recharge its energy and the conditions for recharging energy are met, then you want to go on to do that. And for this recharge energy thing, I think, wow, this is happening a lot more. I don't think this is, I think I'm pretty sure that I set these. Oh boy. Looks like Unreal Engine is, oh boy, oh good god. Looks like Unreal Engine has that thing. I was hoping this wasn't gonna happen. I was hoping it wasn't gonna happen. Looks like Unreal Engine. Anyway, let me be sure. Let me go to maybe I forgot to set those. I really want to hope that that's the case, because the alternative is not really promising. Let's see. Let's go on to check Adravia just to see if I forgot if these. Yeah, these ones are actually set. These ones are set. So I think it's possible entirely that I forgot to set those. Let me just go check some more. Yeah, these guys are set. These guys are set. In any case, you know, as the AI designer, you want to probably just go ahead to just check these anyway. So I don't know, should I go ahead and set these now? Well, I suppose, I mean, this is supposed to be like a training or tutorial or something like that, right? So priority ID current check and ID there. Alright, so I guess I'll get back to this in a second. I'll just make sure I get these right, because they can be pretty easy to miss. Priority and ID. Okay. So like I was saying, if you're in close range, then you want to go into check if you can recharge your energy, and if you can, then you want to recharge your energy. And this is one of the technical things I was talking about before. The what do you call this? The decorators, yeah, the more complicated ones. You know, you have the normal decorators where you can just you know, go in there, say add a decorator, and you know, choose one of these inbuilt ones, or you can go ahead and design yours. Now for the tasks, decorators and services, I've gone into define certain parent classes. You know, if you're used to my framework by now, you understand why I did this. So you have these parent classes that hold variables that and settings, you know, for all their children, you know. And since everything you're working on is going to be based off of MongoDB anyway, at least if you're using the out of combat, you know, so it really works really nicely. For example, in the parent decorator, you have all of these set for you, you know, all the checks are made, you know, going to check that everything is valid, and you know, the controller is valid, the character is valid, and you have those set, and you have some more, okay, this is the, yeah, you have some more events set in here to make sure that the computer, to make sure that the AI knows exactly when an execution is finished and when it's not, when it's starting, you know, all of those, and you can go on ahead to even. And the crazy bit about all of this is that I made everything multiplayer ready. So combine all of that with the modularity and dynamism that the Out of Combat already gives you, and you can imagine what you get. For example, in here, this is just a child of, what is it? I think it's this one. It's just a child of the parent decorator, and you have just these checks. You know, just make sure you make these checks. You know? And at the end, you have these guys as well. You know, to check if the execution is finished. So basically what it checks for is this decorator results. This is what you really need, and you go ahead to already set. So basically what is happening here, for example, is it's going to check if the okay, the AI has this thing. You know, as the player, you you know when you want to recharge your energy. You know the quantity of energy you have when you want to recharge it, how fast it recharges, and whatever, and so on and so forth. But the AI uses some variables to determine that. In this case, it uses a variable to determine if it wants to recharge. It uses a variable to determine the chance for it to recharge, you know, the possibility that it will recharge even if it wants to recharge, and how frequently it wants to recharge, and so on and so forth. So that's what all of these are. The priority ID is basically how much does it want to recharge normally. If it's 0, then that's basically just I believe if it's 0, then that is 10%. Yes. So if the as the priority ID goes up, this is just an integer value as well in the MonDB. As the priority goes up, I think the more, the higher the priority, I think there is. Let's just check for it actually. The higher the priority, the more the chance that it will want to. Yeah, there you have it. The chance in percentage to check if energy levels are below the recharge threshold. So basically how important the energy is to this character, you know. So if it's a character that prioritizes saving its energy, using energy, you know, perhaps like the Forkut class, you know, the Forkut class uses its energy when blocking to absorb shots, you know. So that kind of class, for example, might prioritize energy. Another class that might prioritize energy might be an elemental ranger class, you know. Another one might be the assassin class, you know, because it uses energy to throw, to materialize kunai, shuriken, to throw those, and so on and so forth. But of course, those are just my designs. You have the floor. So on top of these, you know, that's the priority. You also have the energy threshold level. I think, yeah, the energy recharge threshold. I think that's the level below which the energy should be recharged. So okay, you have if it is set to 0, then it's low. If it's 1, it's mid. If it's 2, it's high. So basically, what that means is that if it's set to 0, for example, then let's say that its priority is 5. It means that I think 5 would be like 60%, not 50%. So I think that means that it has a 50% chance to check if it wants to actually even recharge energy. Now, if it actually goes on to check if it wants to recharge energy, it will then go on to check is its current energy below a certain threshold. You know, so if my own threshold as an AI bot is set to 0 and yours is set to 2, and we both have the same 50% priority, you know, possibility to check, it means that even if we check at the same time, if we're looking at the current energy levels between 0 to 100, for example, you know, 25 would be low, 50 would be mid, 75 would be high, right, in terms of percentages. In that case, if yours being, you know, energy recharge threshold level being 2, if yours is at 50%, for example, it means you're going to actually want to recharge. But if mine is set to 0, which is low, and I'm also at 50%, it means I'm not going to want to recharge, you know. So I don't know if I made that as very easy to understand. I really tried to explain it. I can only hope that you understand. If you don't, go ahead and highlight that. Let's see what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that dynamism. Yeah, you know, Yeah, I think so too. Moving to BT, I mean, it just opens up so many possibilities, you know, like the possibilities really are endless, you know, it just blow my mind. So all of this so far is still based on this parallel tree. While the AI is still waiting, it is processing all of that information, you know, trying to see if it wants to actually even recharge energy. If it doesn't want to, then it goes on to run this entirely different specific behavior tree for your ranger that is close to its target, that is aggressive, and that is definitely alive and has a target. You know, and that is just of this single node. So this, oh my god, the power is just ridiculous. And then you have all of these. So basically what we're saying basically is that each single node, each single branch can be a different behavior. That is crazy, you know. I've not even gone into the meat, you know, and I don't know if I'm going to go into those. I think I'm going to be going off soon. So let me just go into one more graph. And then you have this crazy ass skeleton. Oh, good God. Yeah, so you have this insane looking behavior tree. This is for the actions when the AI is close to the character, you know. That's what it's for, CR, close range. So it goes into check if I'm able to backstab, and so on and so forth, you know, the health status, because it uses all of these things to determine a lot of things here. For example, it goes into check if you're of the ranger class, perhaps you want to have specific code here. I just left this open for you. Maybe before I actually upload it, maybe I'm just gonna hook some more things up in here. I don't know. I'm guessing like the really detail-oriented ones of you will prefer me to do that, you know, so that you have even more things to play with. But I don't know. I don't know. If you want that, just let me know. So on top of that, you have where it goes into check if you're not, you know, of the ranger class, if you're of the melee class, which melee class, and if what are you doing at the moment? If you're parrying and you can execute a counter, go ahead and do that. If your health is at a critical level, you can see how we're just modularly using conditions of play, you know, to design. I mean, all of these are just, if you look at, like, if you put all of these like on a world map, you can see all of these are possible events that could happen. And along the line, depending on how intricate your system design is, you have real dynamic gameplay, you know, actually happening in the game. Sometimes when I'm actually playing a Dravia myself, I'm actually envisioning, like, I'm able to actually tell the story. I'm able to tell stories of revenge. I'm able to tell stories of adventure, of, you know, this. It's almost like my AI have emotions, like they have feelings, you know, like they're watching, you know, they're intelligent, you know. That I think that is just an amazing thing to feel, you know. So you have all of these here, you know. If you have the priority to do this, you have your blocks for certain classes, like the Fakuts. You have your feints, you know, certain class specific actions, and so on and so forth, you know, attack techniques, defensive actions, special techniques. You have weights, and keep in mind that all of these is still without what do you have, what do you call it, all of this is still without flanking, and without even utilizing the team hierarchy component, without utilizing patrolling at all, in fact. So can you imagine what would happen if you went on to combine all of these with those systems, you know, with flanking, with oh good god, oh good god. I mean, that would be ridiculous. Okay, it looks like I have a bit more. Let me just go in to check if all of these, well, looks like I have to set these and all of them. Okay, I guess my work is cut out for me. But I think for now, I'm probably just gonna end this. Yeah, BTs are just, they're really, I think they're like the best thing that I've seen in Unreal Engine so far, you know. Although there are some more technical aspects to it, you know, especially when it comes to using EQS. I don't know if I'm going to include that in this update. I may or may not. I suppose I should probably just give a rundown of what happens if you keep in mind that some of the what do you call it? Like you saw, some of the things that should be connected are not connected. So I'll just go on to connect those. But I don't know if I should do that in this video because it's just going to be a repetition. Okay. I mean, it is so beautiful to watch. I almost want to get killed by the AI. Oh, good God. Oh, good Lord. Anyway, wow, that is amazing. So yeah, so thanks for watching, and Merry Christmas in advance. Yeah, sure, absolutely. Bye bye.